Assalamualaikum and good morning everyone. So this is our unit 5 in mathematics in early childhood education, and in this unit 5 we will talk about early geometry and spatial sense. Alright, let us take a look on the learning objective for this topic. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to apply an early childhood education relevant practice in teaching early geometry and spatial sense that includes a shape, size, positions, directions, and movement. Alright. What is early geometry and a spatial sense? Okay, as we know, early geometry is related to the shapes, and it is a branch of mathematics that studies on the size, shapes, positions, and dimensions of things. And a spatial awareness is the awareness that you know the location or the position of the things. And to have a good spatial awareness, you need to understand and respond to a change in a position from this object. So, this spatial awareness, it is actually the complex skill that the children develop at the early age. So, from this progression for the Common Core State Standards in Mathematics 2030, he said that geometric and spatial thinking are important in and of themselves because they connect mathematics and the physical world, and because they support the development of a number and arithmetic concept and skills. Along the process that we will teach this subject, and I will explain to you the condition of the early geometry and spatial sense in our daily life. Alright, so okay, to learn early geometry and spatial sense, dia lebih kurang sama macam kita belajar number sense, early number sense, where we have to go in order daripada early maths and early numbers and baru basic operation. So in this early geometry and spatial sense, we also have a hierarchical order of learning. We call it as a Van Hill levels for teaching geometry. Okay. Di dalam Van Hill levels of for teaching geometry ni ada 5 fasa, 5 phases, and students need to pass each of the phase one after another. Okay, dan selalunya kanak-kanak prasekolah dia berada di dalam visualization analysis. Dia tak sampai lagi ke level 2, level 3 or level 4, because level 2, level 3, level 4 it is more advanced mathematics in teaching geometry. But it's good for us to know, so at least we know the step by step of the way that we teach early geometry to children. Okay, kita tengok dulu yang first, level 0, they call it, a visualization. At this level, children use visual perception and non-verbal thinking. When they look at the object, they don't see that as a shapes, despite they see it as a things that they familiar with. For example, that shape look like a hat. That shapes look like a door. That shape look like a what you call that, a ball, for example, kan? Jadi dia tak refer the shapes to as a shape itself, but it's always relate to the things that they are familiar with. Okay, and in this level 0, the emphasis need student can observe, feel, build, compose, or take part or decompose. So the goal of this level 0 is to explore how shapes are alike and how they are different, and use these ideas to create a classes of shapes. For example, bila tengok kat sini, dia tak tahu segitiga sepatutnya kena ada 3 segi yang sama, ada 3 sudut and everything, tetapi dia tahu this is triangles and this is not triangles because of the way that it looks like. Sedangkan yang ni pun is actually triangles, kan? Tetapi when the children at this level visualization, they just don't focus on the properties ataupun ciri-ciri, tetapi dia focus on the appearance. Okay. Alright, so this is level 0, visualization. And when they go to level 1, baru dia properly identify parts of figures and can describe the shape properties. And okay, dekat dalam ni baru dia faham. Oh, okay, untuk nak mendapatkan square tu, it should be all sides are equal and all four right angles ada 90 degrees. Kalau untuk rectangle, two pairs of opposite sides equal and all four right angles. Untuk rhombus, all side equals and no right angle. So dia dah tahu certain properties for the shapes. Okay, so inilah, sampai sinilah selalunya untuk level preschoolers. And level 2, informal deduction and abstraction. Dia can compare, ini pun sebenarnya preschoolers dah boleh sampai with the simple activities like this, ya. Tetapi when it comes to advanced level of informal deduction and abstraction, it is more like to define or non-define things that relate to the shape properties, ya. Because it emphasize a logical reasoning. Kalau you kata ini bukan segitiga, kenapa? Kalau yang ni you kata rhombus, kenapa? Why? Okay. Why or what if? Okay. It focus on the logical reasoning. Okay. Apabila dia sampai ke level 3, formal deduction, it is more advanced level where they understand the isi padu, the calculation, the more complicated measurement for the shapes itself. Yeah, this is one of the example Pythagorean theorem yang kita tahu untuk yang C ni kita boleh A kuasa 2 tambah B kuasa 2 dapat C kuasa 2. And level 4, this is normally for for the university level lah, yeah. Because kalau kita orang biasa ni kita belajar Euclidean sahaja, Euclidean, cara nak mengira Euclidean shapes yang macam ni. Tetapi kalau untuk level 4 or rigor, mereka akan belajar this non-Euclidean untuk nak kira shapes, measurement for 3D shapes. Okay, so these are step by step for a Van Hill level of teaching geometry. So let us take a look for the activities yang kita boleh lakukan to develop geometric thinking in the preschoolers. Alright, so for the first one, inquiry. Well, we can start with a play. Definitely children love to play, so encourage them to freely explore the materials and hence discover some properties and structures. So dekat sini saya ada tunjukkan contoh tangram set, ya. Tangram set ni combinations or collection of shapes that you can make anything from it. Yes, some sort like a block, tetapi dia lebih kepada yang kita boleh put as a display dekat atas meja macam tu kan. Okay. So, for example, give each child a tangram set and simply what can you do with these pieces. So let them explore what kind of shapes that they can do with this collection of a tangram set. So this is to get them engaged to what they will learn next. Second is a direct orientation. It means you ask children what to do. Okay. For example, we can also use a puzzle pieces, shape puzzle pieces like this. And you can ask the question, which pieces can be made from other 3 pieces? Or how many different ways can the largest triangle be made by using other pieces? So this is some sort like we give them a direction and they will try to do it and they will make it as a shapes or what you call that, a tangram or a puzzle that we want them to put into the pieces. Next is explication, or we call it as attention to details. Dia nak tengok benda tu betul-betul, okay, kalau yang ini ada berapa angle, yang ini macam mana nak bentukkan, what is the same about all the triangles, dia ada berapa ciri, berapa sudut, berapa semua. So ini lebih kepada kita nak betul-betul fokus on the each shapes that each traits, ciri-ciri yang each shapes ada. Okay, so one of the example that you can do with children, play a mystery bag where child fills a hidden shapes and describe it to the rest of the class, and they can try to name the shape. Yeah. Alright, phase 4 is a free orientation. Well, again, we can use this tangram puzzle set for them to try to figure out how to make it a square. Well, it is not only one way to do this, it's a multiple way to put it in the pieces. Another good example is a rubric. Yeah, rubric is also a free orientation of playing the patterns and also the shapes itself. And last but not least is a phase 5, integration. Okay, integration, apa yang mereka dah belajar, put in the things that they can explain it in the group, for example. Contohnya, in the class game, like a 20 question will help children to logically organize their knowledge of properties of the shapes. Yeah, so choose a shape and write everything you can about it. For example, you ask them to pick up a shapes of triangle. Okay, from the shape of triangle, what can you see from it? Okay, so daripada apa yang dia dah belajar from the free explorer, from the direct guidance, dia akan masukkan data di dalam tu apa yang mereka tahu. So these are the 5 phases that we can do with children to help them develop a geometric thinking. Okay, seterusnya, how to teach. So tadi kita ada mention on the geometric shapes and also a spatial orientation, right? So let us take a look at geometric shapes first. Right. First of all, we need them to understand shapes and their properties, ciri-ciri dia. Okay, and when we teach shapes to children, it must start with the simplest or most common shape that children will encounter. For example, apa yang dia nampak di sekeliling dia selalunya bentuk square, rectangle, circle, oval, triangle and diamond. So this is a common order for us to teach shapes to children. And first, we should focus on the location and position of the shapes in order to develop a variety of skills. And they must experience a variety of 2 and 3 dimensional shapes. Yeah. So when we talk about 2-dimensional shapes, it is a basic shapes that the children needs to know, like a triangle, circle, ellipse, square, ellipse or oval. Yeah. A rectangle. Yang ini quite advanced, but we still can teach them. So when we teach them a shape, it needs to start with the 2-dimensional shape first, because it's quite easy for them to understand. And we can do by make them classify. For example, yang ada 4 sudut, yang ada 3, yang tak ada sudut. For example, ya, ciri-ciri yang kita perlu highlight pada mereka. Okay, so these are an example for you to teach children in terms of types and properties for geometric shapes. For squares, I have 4 sides, or I have 4 corners, and I am a square. For a triangle, I have 3 sides, and I have 3 corners, and I am triangle. For pentagon, I have 5 sides, I have 5 corners, and I am pentagon. For the hexagon, I have 6 sides, I have 6 corners, and I am hexagon. Octagon, I have 8 sides, I have 8 corners, and I am octagon. For the circle, definitely I have infinite sides. Tak ada and I have no corners, and I am a circle. Tapi ada juga yang mengatakan kalau circle tu is only one side. Sebenarnya it's infinite sides, ya. So these are the words or the terms that you can use to discuss the properties of a geometric shapes for the basic 2D shapes. Alright, next, a 3-dimensional shapes. Okay, in these 3-dimensional shapes, even though that we feel like it's quite advanced for children to learn, but it is actually quite fun because it represent the actual things that they can see in their own life. For example, kalau mereka tengok bola, that is not a shape of circle, it's a shape of sphere, right? So itu yang menunjukkan the difference between 2D and 3D. So in terms of 3D, it's supposed to have 3 dimensions such as height, width, and depth. Then I have a good video for you to teach 3D shapes that you can watch later on. Okay, I skip this video first. Okay. These are some properties of a 3D shapes that you can teach children. Please remember, we can also discuss first thing first before we discuss on the properties. The 3D shapes, normally it comes with the 3 similar properties. For example, vertices. A vertex is a corner point, yang hujung-hujung ni, sudut, ya. Edges, and edge is simply a line segment drawn between the faces, ya, 1, 2. Faces yang muka ni, muka. For example, kalau dekat dalam cube ni, dia ada 6 equal faces, dia ada 6 muka yang sama, 4 segi yang sama. 8 vertices, so dia ada 8 bucu dan 12 edges. So different than cuboid, sphere, cylinder, and so on. Well, if you want to know more about the properties of the 3D shapes, the exact words that you can use, you can click on this link. Well, once they know about the shapes and their properties, they need to know how to composing and decomposing it. Bagaimana untuk nak membuat bentuk tersebut dan macam mana untuk nak menguraikan. Kalau dalam bahasa matematik, cerakin ya. Cerakinkan, pisahkan untuk jadi separate shapes ataupun build up to make it a shapes. For example, 2 triangle can make 1 square. Okay? So, another activity that you can do, okay, like this. You can use a geoboard, yeah, geoboard, so that they can freely explore with this geoboard to make it a shape as what they have learned in the basic properties of the shapes. Well, it is such a awesome online geoboard that you can play around with your children by clicking on this link later on, yeah. Okay, so overall, these are the learning strategies for us to teach them shapes. First, we need to, okay, let me start from here. Okay, It's supposed to be, this is the first page, nanti I tukar. So first, you identify the shape. So introduce children to a different kind of triangle, such as equilateral. Yang ini a bit advanced though, tetapi we can put in as well if we can see they can follow the trails. So okay, tetapi kalau tak menggunakan shapes yang a different kind of triangle, we can use a different kind of shapes as well. And introduce math words. Make sure that you use a right words to represent the shapes itself. And you can do a comparison after that. For example, okay, what is in the classroom, they could search for rectangles such as windows. Tetapi lepas tu nanti cuba compare pula dengan other things that looks like a triangles. And what's the difference when they do the comparison? Definitely they can see, oh, this one with this one is not the same because what? So that is called the differences. And then these are some of the activity that you can do as well. Create a shapescape. One of the art things that we can do, teacher and families can collect three-dimensional objects such as cans, carton, box, and balls to create a shapescape. Something that we do a structure for the 3D shapes, yeah. And then go from 3D to 2D. Okay, nanti I will show in the classroom how can we teach from 3D to 2D and 2D to 3D. And after that, you can ask them to discover shape outdoors. Bagaimana dekat luar tu, what kind of shapes that you can find, and then related to what we have learned, and learn new vocabulary. For example, this is a thick book. This is a small ball. Tetapi ini more on measurement that we will explain or we will learn in the next topic. Okay. Alright. Sekejap ya, there's another one more slide. Once preschoolers can correctly identify shapes, then you can ask them to create and uncreate the shapes. For example, like what I've mentioned just now, play with tangram, how to make it a square by two triangles. Or you can decompose a square by cut into half and then jadi two rectangle, for example. Okay. Okay, so this is about shapes. Let us take a look on the position of spatial orientation. Okay. In this spatial orientation, students or children are expected to describe the position of shapes in the environment using the terms like above, below, beside, in front of, behind, and next to. And additional students develop spatial sense by connecting geometric shapes yang kita belajar dah tadi to their everyday lives in the shapes in their environment. So, when it comes to a spatial orientation, these are the things that it's the basic things that we have to teach them. I have these wonderful websites that I will discuss in the class later on. And let us take a look at some learning strategies for these position and movement activities. Well, you can start to focus on a word for a week. For example, the way that they represent themselves. Use the word throughout the day in the classroom, in the hallway, on the playground, you are sitting beside your friend. So something that they can relate to their daily routine. Okay. Pair a positional and shape vocabulary. The clock is a circle. It is beside the door. So make sure it can be like kita boleh tunjuk benda tu, okay, jam itu berada di depan pintu masuk, for example. Jadi so the children can remember the word di depan pintu masuk. Di depan tu berarti in front of the door, kan? So dia tahu, oh, kalau dia tak ingat what is in front of, it means dia ingat balik jam yang berada di depan pintu masuk dekat tadika dia, for example. Create a book. Invite families to write about a favorite activity using a positional words. Okay, ini one of the activities that we can do so that they can play around with the words, with the vocabulary, and at the same time they are learning by the experience. Use photo example. Definitely we can have a photo to put that things under the table, to put that things beside the cupboard. So when we put the photo beside the cupboard, make sure we tell children, oh, so this photo is beside the cupboards. Explain the proper words to define the preposition. Okay. Okay, Miss Simon says, okay, right. So I will explain more on these learning strategies in our classroom later on. Alright, so I think that's about it about early geometry and spatial sense, because it is more on activity, hands-on activity that we need to discuss in the classroom. Thank you very much, everyone. Assalamualaikum.